YouTube? I'm Original Asherella and this is my channel. Now, today we're going to be talking about Onion. Yes, this is an Onion tea episode and I think we're up to like 17 at this point. But I wasn't planning on doing an Onion tea this week. This one's kind of impromptu. But last night's Take a Seat with Chris Hansen was next level in my opinion. It was very compelling. So I really wanted to talk about it. I just cannot wait to talk about it. If you're new here, I'm Asherella, Original Asherella. Thank you for coming by. I don't always talk about Onion, but sometimes I do. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, leave me a like and a comment. And if you are returning or already subscribed, thank you so much for coming back. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. But without further ado, let's get into it. If you haven't watched the video, the live stream, you need to watch it, definitely. I highly recommend it. If you've been following this case, do it. Do it. Now let's get into it. Okay, so Hansen's stream last night. He had 3 guests. One was Regina, which we know Regina, we know her story. She's definitely, a victim of Onion, but arguably even more so Kai. And I think she's actually a mod for Hansen now. But Regina, and then this other guy who I had no prior knowledge of before the stream last night, but he is Slug from Angry Slug Productions. I think his real name is Kevin, and he has been kind of hacking into some of the Onion discords recently, and he had a few really interesting things to say. But what I really want to talk about is the 3rd guest. It is a Belgian girl named Kel. I could not believe what I heard last night on the stream. She wasn't necessarily a victim of Onion in a lot of ways some of the other girls were, like Sarah, but she was definitely victimized by Onion. Like, he was verbally and emotionally abusive to her. But also, Kel is a survivor of Dahvie Vanity. Yes, you heard me. This poor girl not only had to deal with Onion's psychotic, manipulative, gaslighting, narcissistic BS, but she was also assaulted by Dahvie. Now, I wish I could say that surprises me, but it really doesn't surprise me all that much. And I'll tell you why in just a minute. I've mentioned Dahvie Vanity on the Onion Tea episodes before, but I haven't went into a lot of detail about it because this is about Onion, not about Dahvie. But go watch Hansen's streams on Dahvie for the details. But basically, over the past over a decade, this guy has made a habit of befriending underage girls, gaining their trust, getting them to hang out with him in some kind of innocent manner, and then forcing himself upon them, forcing them to perform things with their mouth on him. And when I say force, I mean force, physically and violently shoving their heads into his downtown, without warning, just randomly. And then there are dozens and dozens of victims who have came out, and girls that don't know each other, girls that are 10 years apart in age, girls that have no clue who the other one is or would have no reason to make this up. I mean, his MO is almost identical in every single scenario, and it is creepy and it is disgusting. And this chick Kel was one of those victims of Dahvie. Now, she didn't go into a lot of detail about it, but what she did, it lines up with all the other Dahvie stories. She and her mom had came to the States for a Warped Tour. Mom was a fan of Jeffree Star. She was a fan of Blood on the Dance Floor. Blah, blah, blah. He ends up sexually assaulting her. This, is really hard on her. She finds the Onion Man community. She starts to watch the videos. She becomes a fan. She ends up subscribing, going on to the Patreon, being a high tier supporter. Befriends, and I say befriends in quotations because Onion doesn't have any real friends. Everybody in his life he takes advantage of. But becomes a part of this community. Confides in Onision what had happened to her by Dahvie. And then later on down the road, whenever she calls Onion Man out on soliciting nudes from underage girls, he blackmails her with what he knows about what happened with her and Dahvie. Onion says that he was going to tell everybody that, you know, she was lying about what happened with Dahvie, that she made that up, and that all this like negative stuff about her, basically trying to make her look like a liar if she pushed the situation or exposed him for soliciting nudes from underage girls. Oh my God, I hope she has screenshots or receipts to prove this. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it as far as like the stool I'm sitting on is red. Like, I am sure that happened. I really hope that there is like, you know, a computer, a cell phone somewhere out there that can back this up. Like, hell, not only did she have to deal with being sexually assaulted by Dahvie, she then had to deal with being like emotionally manipulated, verbally assaulted, you know, gaslighted, I don't know, you know, like manipulated by Onion to an extent that like it's hard for me to even fathom one individual can be so repulsive. You know, what basically, you know, what she is confirming that we already know is that Onion, yes, is a creepy grooming predator that has no problem, you know, having inappropriate sexual conversations and interactions with underage girls. That it's not like, oh, he's just so innocent, he doesn't like underage girls and they just blah blah blah. You know, he was soliciting photos from them. You gotta like deplatform predators, guys. Like, we've got to do that. You know, Dahvie is still on social media, like flirting and talking and making these connections and friendships with underage girls, like right now as we speak. And has YouTube not kicked off Onion yet? Like, how are these social media platforms like allowing Dahvie to still interact in this way? Like, he has had like criminal charges pressed against him before, and now, you know, this mounting, you know, horde of evidence against him. You know, it's just in their best interest to not put themselves in that kind of liability, even if they're only covering their own ass, you know? Like I said, I'm not surprised that these two cases intersected, because they both target very similar type of victim. Disillusioned, like teens that feel alienated. And it doesn't matter how like lone wolf you are. It doesn't matter how like unique or original. Hey man, I'm original Asherella and I need people too. But it doesn't matter like how individualized you are. Like, everybody wants to belong to a group. You know, if you don't, especially if you don't have a strong like family unit, especially if have already been abused in some type of way. Like, everybody wants to feel like they are part of a community or a group or a family. And, you know, Onion and Dahvie are both very cult leader-like in their ability to like target in on, you know, a mentality of somebody longing and yearning for acceptance into something in that way. You know, it's like they always have a sixth sense of picking out people that they can easily manipulate in that way. And, you know, this is just a message, like anybody that's out there that's watching this that might feel alienated by like their family or their friends or their local community or whatever, you know, especially when you're a teenager, like, you know, high school is not shit, guys. Like, a couple years into college, a couple years out of high school, you will be like, oh my God, I cannot believe I let that upset me so bad. You know, I had a pretty decent high school experience, But like none of that shit matters anymore. And honestly, like you don't want to peak in high school. Like the people that peak in high school, they're miserable now. And the people that were like the more alienated types, you know, they're the ones that are thriving now. And I know that's not a blanket statement, or, you know, that's not specific to every single person. But just like, if you do feel alienated like that, keep your head up. It's not like that always, I promise. Earlier in the video, I had mentioned Angry Slug, or Slug from Angry Slug Productions. He made a really, strong statement during the stream last night. Kind of similar to what I just said. Dahvie and Onion both are, are taking advantage of them. And, I definitely advise you to go watch the video. Like, I can't even paraphrase it, like, as well. You should just see it. I just keep thinking about Kel so much, and it's just, like, so heart-wrenching. She's so brave and strong, honestly, for going on. I mentioned in my last video, Onion now has an OnlyFans, and it's like, ooh, Onion, like, nobody wants to see your disgusting body. Like, I mean, and it's like, if he wasn't who he was, his body would be just like, bleh. But because he is who he is, his body is like, bleh. Slug, like I said, had been like hacking into the Discord and kind of getting some receipts on, some of this behavior that's going on. Like, we've heard this before, but, Onion is very, like, verbally abusive, manipulative to even his fans. And, like, these are the people that he still has that are giving him money. Like, you would think he would be, like, nice to them, but I guess that's not how you control people. You can't control people if you're too nice to them, right, Onion? It's just, like, I feel so bad for these people that are, like, still lashing on to him. They're brainwashed, and I'm sure I'm gonna have a few of them comment in this video. Like, I always get a few ugly comments, but guess what, guys? I don't give a fuck. Say whatever you want. I don't care. Onion is a creep, and he needs to be kicked off of socials in general. YouTube, what are you doing? What are you doing? Get Onion off now. There's so much evidence that he is a, criminally manipulative, predatory, grooming person. Like, get him off. And Instagram, they need to get Dahvie off there, and Twitter, anywhere else he is. Both narcissistic sociopaths. And Dahvie definitely, like, the more I hear about this guy, he's got some serious, deeply seated sexual issues, as does Onion. I guess that's it for this episode of Onion Tea. Like I said, we're up to like 17 now. It's crazy. But yeah, if you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Remember, every time a new person hits the subscribe button on Original Asherella, a YouTuber named Original Asherella has an improvement in her self-esteem for no money at all and very, very, very little extra effort. You can hit the thumbs up button and it will really improve her standings in the YouTube algorithm. Do not delay. Do it today. Do it today. Do it right now. Do it right now. But yeah, guys, okay, I guess that's it. I'm Original Asherella. This is my channel. Always tap in and never tap out. Find me on my socials and keep on onion slaying like a saying.